inviting the young team from Digital Health India. After listening to so much about telemedicine, and when the requirement of telemedicine appeared to be large from March, April, when we realized that a lot of healthcare organizations are looking for the right solution, we were discussing with Dr. Agarwal from Kaho, and we decided that there has to be a place where the organizations that go to look for the telemedicine solutions which are right for their use. And in that effort, there was an alliance formed by Kaho, HIMSS, Chime, and NRCS, along with Digital Health India. And we try to work out a maturity model of the telemedicine solutions and how to evaluate them based on that model. So I'm going to invite Gaurav and Ayushi to tell us what this model is. And this is a work in progress. And we want to share this with you today to say how the telemedicine solutions in the market could be evaluated. So Gaurav, over to you.
Thank you for the introduction. First of all, it's an honor to be a part of such a great event. Thanks, Kaho, for giving this opportunity. Just to give an idea what is Alliance for Telemedicine Registry and Evaluation is, the short description is already given by Dr. Uma. I just want to elaborate it more. So just to get a hang out what is the evaluation process and what we are trying to achieve. So in order, we already came to know that there is a well need of telemedicine services, but the proper knowledge of getting what is the right solution and implementation of the solution by the healthcare provider was still deficient. So in order to bridge this gap of the telemedicine solution available in the market, the four organizations mentioned by Dr. Uma came together and tried to create a registry which will help the healthcare organization and the healthcare providers to choose the best solution as per their needs, and also help the telemedicine solution providers to where they look for and how to roadmap to fulfill the requirements of the healthcare provider. So what we do is we examine the telemedicine solution by having a thorough technical demonstration of entire solution and categorize them based on some categories. They are telemedicine, teleconsultation, tele-ICU, specialized service, teleservice, and remote patient monitoring. So how we do is this. This is our evaluation process. So after learning from pilot phase and interim report, we divided the entire process into 3 stages and try to add a kind of verification and validation at each stage. The text at the right hand side you can see shows the process that has been carried out to reach to the next step of the evaluation ladder. The first, it talks about the self-registration and the shortlisting of the company based on categorization. So till date, we have around 200 plus applicants and their evaluation is still in process. The second stage talks about the expert panel evaluation. So the expert panel are from the alliance team we have. The organization I already mentioned by Dr. Oma. So once the telemedicine solution is evaluated, we try to map them against a maturity model using the DCHC model, which is the maturity model for the telemedicine solution, and we'll publish this in the registry along with that evaluation summary. So this was the model we are talking about right now. It's a multi-level model. So just to give an idea how we reached to this model and how we try to create it, we try to go through various research papers and the guideline that comes from the telemedicine practice guidelines and also from the NDHM blueprint, which was announced by our Honorable Prime Minister on the Independence Day. And not the least, but the most important are the expert panel evaluation that we had in the methodology. So on the basis of that, we came up with this list, which is first is statutory compliances, identification, consent management, basic record, information exchange, and clinical workflow. In detail about this, my friend Aishi will help you to go through it. Over to you, Aishi.
Thanks, Gaurav. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'm excited to share with you DCHCN model. This is a multi-level stratified framework developed catering to the need of telehealthcare consultation, focusing on the needs specific to the ecosystem of India. As Gaurav has already briefed a lot about it, Indian healthcare is evolving and we have recently witnessed some fast actions. Many companies working in health domain, having EHR and EMR as their proprietary products have chartered into telehealth. Government of India had Ministry of Health and Family Welfare released telemedicine practice guidelines. We have draft of health data management policy by NDHM. And as briefed already, the expert part of this alliance have deliberated over these documents released by the government, along with the experience of the evaluation of more than 100 teleconsultation platforms till date. But why do we need this? Doctor-patient consultation requires doctor and patient to communicate, exchange documents, exchange a glance, a word, audio, or a video interaction. Digital medium is required to have a capability to mediate the identification and authentication of doctor. Actually, it is required to mediate the trust that exists in the physical world between doctor and patient. Patient in India lives in a complex society and structure with resource constraint, upper middle income to the people in the remote tribal region. People with varying diversity in age, gender, family values, need around physical and emotional well-being. So any platform facilitating this makes the platform more usable, maybe more adopted. So doctor also follow pro forma while consulting patients and taking notes. So these are the basic things which are part of the teleconsultation. And that is why we took input from the RMPs to understand the clinical workflow. Few minutes back, Dr. Nusrat demonstrated about this clinical workflow very well. To quote her, technology integrated in everyday work of the doctor. That is what we are looking for. But what we also talk about among the Alliance team member is what should be there in technology that it integrates into life of patients. People of various age, group, gender, sexuality, different phases in life emotionally and mentally, and having very personal responsibilities. What should a platform have? And that is why with this theme around this theme we have discussed among us, and we have come up with a stratified model. A lot of components of this model have been briefed by Gaurav, then by Dr. Sameer had also explained in good details the information exchange which is expected in doctor-patient interaction. In next slide, I'll just directly to what we are doing. Next slide, please. So we have divided each level into mandatory features and aspirational features. Aspirational features at one level feed into the mandatory into the another level. There's a kind of diagonal relationship between the aspirational feature at one level to the mandatory feature in the next level. So to give overview of the first level, we consider a very basic platform that connects doctor and patient over audio, chat, asynchronous mode of audio also, asynchronous mode of chat or sharing the records, SMS feature to share the prescription or notes. So at this level, we are not mandating the use of smartphones. We are saying that it is compatible with the feature phone usage. Consent is considered implicit or implied, and these platforms have utility of connecting patient or frontline worker in the remote region. Next slide. That was a very basic level. So we have developed a graded and stratified platform having features across each level distributed into the mandatory and aspirational. In this presentation, very short time, I'm just giving you a snapshot of what we are actually doing. So the next slide, as we advance from one level to this level, which is an intermediate level, we consider the platforms who are TPG compliant, and this consent for every encounter between the doctor and patient. Facility or prescription that is signed with e-sign facility or scanned prescription written by a doctor with a proper authenticated signature that can be shared. We also we gradually also move towards advanced administrative role like appointment management, doctor search, guiding patient to search for doctor, saving time of patient, facilitating patients for the patient who are a varied health literacy and digital literacy also to connect with doctor. In a way, save time of patient and doctor and keep the patient informed at the same time. So these are the features which we are considering at the intermediate level. Next slide. So a lot has been mentioned in the intermediate level also. We must be wondering what happens in the advanced level. So this is just a snapshot of the advanced, the broad aspirational level for us, which we are looking. At the advanced level, we talk about advanced consent management. We learn from a lot of global discourses, and we say that deed identification of data for data usage, a lot of data permission, which is in the context of India, maybe translated to the multilingual format, maybe audio reading of the consent form so that the patient whose consent we are taking, they can understand, ensuring privacy of patients, supporting patient with dependents or caregivers. We are talking about patient controlled health records, and not just the patient control dependent of family health records. So remember, we are talking in the context of India. By reviving a lot of global health policy discourses, we also laid out many advanced features like digital death, right to forget, a soft death kind of things for the patient. So these are the broad, this is a broad overview of what we are doing at present. And this is a working document, a living document at present with us, if the team, and it will be released soon. And that time also it will be a living document, a working framework, and it will keep on evolving with the feedback from the vendors, experts, government policy people, and anyone who wants to engage with it. It will evolve as Indian ecosystem and global ecosystem evolves. This is our vision for this particular product. Thank you so much.
Do we need to record patient-doctor consultation for medico-legal aspects?
Yes, you do need to. Ayushi, do you want to take this question?
Yeah. So there is a need for recording the medical legal for the medical legal purpose of consultation, but there's another aspect to it, which is what we delve into when we are talking about a model. One is recording, and other is whom the recording is accessible, how the recording is stored, and when the recording is used, and how long the recording is stored. So these are the other things also which whenever we are talking about the platform providers, they also need to consider. And the doctors who are using the teleconsultation, they also need to consider that they need to discuss with the patient. Definitely there is a need for consent with the patient about these aspects, consent about and informing them in their language, the way they understand that they're doing the recording and how long it will be stored. But definitely there's a need, because the digital system makes the keeping of a trail difficult. And the trailing is an important part, because we are living in a world where we keep on hearing about the medical legal cases. So it's for the safety of doctors and ensuring from the end of patient also that they are getting the care which they can verify and cross check, because our patients are also getting internet informed. Some are good in a manner and some are bad also in a manner, but that doctors can comment more. But I will take a patient perspective. Many a time it becomes good, so they also prefer recording many a times.
Yeah, the only thing is that at the moment for the paper records, some of the states have regulations as to how long the records need to be kept. But for digital health, the transaction longevity of records, it is not yet mentioned, and the TPG guidelines are silent on the time for which the records have to be kept. So there is some more work for Abhishek to do as we go forward, because these things need to be defined clearly. Because people
Always,
have,
always welcome, ma'am.
yeah, no, people tend to have a feeling that digital mean lifelong. They don't understand that this is also space and time.
That's
So it
correct.
costs money, and therefore it cannot be for eternity. So there has to be more clarity on how long the digital health records have to be kept and how has it to be pruned, just like how we do it in the physical world.